Alright YouTubes, in today's video we've got a BMW X5 in for door repair. So I'll give you a quick look. So it's in for this door to be repaired, and yeah, it's shallow through there, bit of the inner skin's sort of showing there, and yeah, obviously grazed. New wheel arch trim, that's just been ripped off, so we've got a new wheel arch trim coming for it. I think it's all fine on the dog leg that the trim attaches to, so it'd be repair and paint this door and blend into the quarter panel. So this door's aluminium, so it's in a fair bit. Aluminiums can be a little bit tricky to repair, and I haven't got a massive amount of aluminium repairing equipment, to be honest with you. So my GYS dent pullers are only for steel, so the only options I've got really for repairing aluminium and pulling it about and stuff is suckers, PDR stuff like glue pads and stuff like that, or you know, try to get to the inside of it, or the classic old school way of repairing dents, just hit it and shit it. That's the only options I've got with aluminium. So I'm hoping aluminium's sort of quite springy and bouncy. So first thing I'm going to try is just put a sucker on there. This edge is over, this edge is flattened off, so I'll have to use some sort of rubber mallet on there. So I'm just going to put a sucker on this first, just to see if that bit will pop. And then yeah, if it doesn't pop, then yeah, I'm going to try glue pulling it, and that should be okay. It's nice to sort of get some heat into aluminium, but obviously putting heat into it and then having a glue pull it doesn't work. The panel needs to be cold for the glue to set. So yeah, we'll see how I get on. Like I say, I'll try using a sucker on it, see if any of it will come out, and then get the glue pads out. Oh, she ain't going. I'm gonna go flying. Oh, it's not going. Heating it up might help. Oh, she's not going. Alright YouTubes, how are we all doing? Hope you're all well. So yeah, as you see in the title for this repair on this job, the customer got quoted £6,500 to repair this. We didn't go into too much detail with him what it was, but I did say, was it a new door? And he said, yeah, I think so. So main dealer, you can see how the price could get up near there. There'd be post scans, pre-scans, post scans. New door, not sure how much a door will be. That's going to be well over £1,000. Main dealer rate's probably around the £100 an hour mark. New door, fitting, blending, all the extras that they chuck on, probably be quarter glass being taken out because of the rubber. It may even be replacing that, the moulding, VAT and all the rest of it. I can see how it would get up in price, but yeah, I don't think it warranted a new door. I struggle a little bit sometimes with aluminium. Like I said in the intro, I haven't got a great deal of aluminium repairing stuff, and I've come into some bother at times with aluminium, overstretching it, and there's on certain bits of damage, it's brittle. There's a risk of it breaking. I've had it on like edges of wings and stuff where you just pull an arch and it just splits below it and stuff like that. So there is a risk factor with it. But I didn't think it was that bad. It didn't show up as much as it did in real life, really. It was in further than it looked on camera. But I found the tension was sort of on the in, and I needed to get that tension off of it. With steel, you can manipulate it and pop it, and you can even just make it a bit ripply and stuff, just to get it to where you need it, and shrinking hammer. I haven't even, to be honest with you, I haven't even got any aluminium panel beating hammers, and I know I should get some, because you shouldn't be hitting bare aluminium with steel hammers because of cross contamination. So that is another thing on the big long list of stuff that I'd like to buy for the workshop. So yeah, I had to go with a sucker. Didn't really get much joy. Tried warming it up. Tried a couple of small glue pads just to pull in the middle of it, see if I could just get that tension to pop the other way, and it wouldn't really go. So yeah, now I'm trying. So that's like the claw off of my GYS machine, and yeah, I bought those glue pads. I've never used them, but they're, you know, they're same sort of principle as spreading load, you know, like on the keys that you put on the steel dent puller, the keys, or the wiggly wire. It's sort of that same principle, where you can spread it across an area. So yeah, that's how I decided to try and stretch this panel back out to get rid of that tension in it. It was a little bit risky putting the pads either side on the door with it all flexing and bowing, but I just took my time. I was, you know, being gentle with it and checking that I weren't making more damage or making it worse. And yeah, it seemed to work okay, this method. Like I say, I haven't had that type of glue pad for very long, and I'm still struggling with the glue stuff. I'm not sure on the glues I've got. I've just been buying cheap stuff. I really need to sort of look into it and look into reviews and stuff, because I'm finding I've got a few different glues. Some barely take to the panel at all. Slightest bit of pressure and the glue breaks. I've had some advice from comments in previous videos about getting the glue really hot, so I've been doing that. I've just got cheap stuff, so I think moving forward I need to maybe get some better quality pads and glues, and maybe a better quality glue gun as well. So yeah, I had to go there, pulling it out. It seemed to be doing what I wanted it to do, taking that tension out of the middle of that shallow. Obviously, where there's a bit of a feature line there as well, it's the feature line that's been squashed in, and the tension on a feature line anyway when it's outwards. So that's sort of gone the opposite way. And yeah, I found, you know, you could fill that if you wanted to, take a couple of skims and you could get that shape back in filler wise. But I found every time I put heat on it, the panel would just bow in even further. So the heat from the heat gun would make that tension bow in even more. So I knew if I just done the old classic way of hitting it and then shitting it up, it wouldn't have worked. With heat, heat going on that door from sunlight, stuff like that, my filler would have followed it. So I definitely needed to get that tension out. And I'm just, like I say, I'm a little bit dubious on the aluminium and with all the glue stuff because I'm not used to using it. But yeah, give it a few goes with that. I put the feet in a bit tighter, so I'm right where the damage is on with the feet off of that thing, off of that puller. And yeah, and it pulled off then, and yeah, it came out okay. The tension went, the panel sprung back. A bit of muscle memory come back to where it should be. Feature line was still a little bit in, and it was a little bit ripply around it. But yeah, putting a good bit of tension on those those glue pads with that bar in, it done the job. It pulled it out well. To snap off, it's actually done something then. But on steel, I find when it snaps off with this, it just pulls it right the other way.
But then you'd rather it the other way. You can tap it down a bit.
Well, not as much as it has pulled on me.
Yeah.
I'm probably better off.
Because you see as well, when they're like shallow dents, they tend to tap around it and it kind of levels it out, doesn't it?
Yeah, on steel, I'm not sure on Ali.
So that's what he was doing on the Yaris? He wasn't actually pulling it,
No, he was tapping the crowns and it reverses it, doesn't it?
Yeah, somehow.
Not unless they're desperate.
No.
Do you know what? I reckon I've got that. I don't know if I'm going to get much more than that. And I think it's fine for it to go back in. There's a little bit of lumpiness there. Not there, is it?
It's going to be PDR there.
I reckon I have pretty much. And I?
Just a little, yeah.
Just a little bit of a crowny bit in there. It's a little bit shallow there.
Yeah.
I reckon I could get that as well, you know. But I've just light skimming that.
Probably doesn't help where there's all them scratches in it. You can't really see it as well, can you?
I mean, if you feel down there, it is a bit wobbly.
Yeah. Scratches probably don't help for you. Oh, you look at it from don't look.
You don't know what the other side feels like. Yeah, it's a bit rippled. I could be there forever trying to get out with the PPR.
Yeah.
Someone that knows what they're doing would be able to.
Yeah, because then you probably
might end up making it worse.
Yeah.
Back it up against there. That's fine. Just hold that there. I'll just check the other side. It may stick out a bit more quickly. No, it is, man. Yeah, that'll be alright. Yeah. Right then, YouTubes, that's pulled out quite well. I'm quite pleased with that. So I'll give you a quick look. And yeah, most of the shallows come out of it, and there's just a little bit shallow in here still, small bit, and just, you know, a small bit of pressing, rippling around it. Nothing major. I may have been able to do a little bit more. So yeah, it's come out quite well. The trouble with it is if it's under tension in on aluminium, so you know, I might be able to manipulate that aluminium out a little bit, but I was putting heat on it and it was just pulling back down, so the tension was pulling it that way. So even if I'd filled that, left it a bit deeper and filled it, when the heat would, you know, when heat gets on it, if sun's on it, whatever, it'd be inclined to pull in and the filler would follow with it. So yeah, that was a bit of a tricky thing to sort out. So yeah, the best way I found with that glue was to get the big one with a bar on there and to sort of just overstretch it and pull it out, and it sort of stayed out, and then it didn't spring anymore. It sort of it lost its tension a little bit. So it's a little, you know, it's a little bit flexible obviously, but it's not sort of popping in, or the tension's not on the in now, tension's the other way. So yeah, I've heated it right up to try and give it a little bit of a shrink, and yeah, it sort of stayed where it is. So yeah, I'm just going to dress that up with a little bit of filler now. So yeah, I'm pleased with how that come out. Yeah, it can always be a bit tricky, you know. I haven't got any other puller apart from glue, but the beauty of doing it with glue, it does take a bit longer, and you know, I'm not 100% confident with the glue. I don't use it very often, but another good thing with the glue is I haven't broken any paint away, or you know, gone down to any bare aluminium. So I've just sand these scratches out now, which they're not that deep. I'll block across it to highlight the lows, and I'll just skim over the paint then without sort of breaking into the aluminium too much. So yeah, we've got a bit of a shallow round here still. I could maybe spend a bit more time trying to pull it, but I've got it to a point where it's not going to move, and yeah, I can dress the rest of that up with a small skim of filler. So I'll be putting Rage Ultra in it, hopefully get it in one skim, and then start getting it all prepped then for paint. So when the customer came in to show me this job, to have a look at it, he was in two minds to have it done. He was bothered about the scratches, but he wasn't overly bothered about the dent. I think from going to get afterwards thinking about the price that he went and got, it put him right off. So I priced this job, and this is the classic scenario. You price it and then they tell you how much they've been quoted, but regardless of that, it wouldn't have influenced what I priced it at. But yeah, like I say, the guy was in two minds to have it done, so I sort of gave him a cheaper option really. I said to him, I can repair that door. It's a bit tricky being aluminium, so I priced it to repair that door. I said I wouldn't have to get involved. I'm confident I've got enough room to blend that colour within that door with not having to affect the front door. And then I sort of explained to him about blending the colour, and I said where it's low down, I will try to just keep the blend on the quarter panel below the feature line. I said, so it saves a bit of time and materials having to go, because I'm never really happy about doing blowings on camp rails and up pillars. I'd like to go all the way round, and the job just gets big. So I always try to find a happy medium with a job, that they get a good result, that they're going to be happy with, that's going to last. It's not too over the top. They're not going to have any issues with it. So I always try, I try and find a smaller, more efficient way of getting something repaired, looking back to how it should look, without painting too much. And yeah, it's only blending another panel and all the rest of it, but then you've got all the stripping involved, the refitting involved, the polishing involved. It all starts adding time, materials. So I can look at stuff and think where I can blend. And on this one, I did make a little short video of this, and I called it Cheeky Little Blend, because that's what I think it is. It's a cheeky little blend. I managed to blend the repair into the quarter panel, but didn't affect any colour anywhere else. So I just kept that blend really small, kept it on the feature line of the quarter panel, kept the colour away in the door panel and on the quarter panel, kept that blend below that feature line. So the top of the door, where I clear coat the whole of the door, the top of the door still matches with the top of the quarter panel, and then the blending is done below that feature line. So always look, I'm always looking for feature lines to keep repairs small, to keep painting smaller. It just saves a bit of time, saves a bit of stripping. There's always a little risk factor involved with stripping stuff. Modern cars, tons of plastic clips and all that type of thing. Can never 100% guarantee to get a scraper moulding off without putting a bend in it. They're all gloss black or frosted chrome, and all these types of materials on these things that you take off of cars. And I'm not happy with masking stuff up on a vehicle. I like everything within reason to be stripped off, so paint gets behind it. I've got no build-ups. I can put a decent amount of paint and clear coat on without having to worry about with build-ups on masking and stuff like that. Don't do it all the time. Sometimes we have to mask stuff up, but I always try to do a job where I'm going to be stripping stuff out, but sometimes it doesn't warrant it for budgets and stuff like that. So yeah, always trying to cater for everyone's got different budgets, and trying to find a happy medium on the repairs and the painting, and like I say, keeping stuff a bit smaller. You got one end of the spectrum there where you got quoted £6,500 to repair this car. I'm not going to tell you how much I quoted for this, how much I got paid for this. I'll reveal it in the second part of the video, which will be the painting stage. So yeah, let me know in the comments if any of you body shop owners and you price up jobs and all the rest of it, what sort of price you would price this job at, how I'm doing it, repairing, painting that door and blending just the lower half of that quarter. let me know your price, and then we'll see in the second video how far out I am, probably. Got this in one skim. I blocked it all off so I could see where all my highs and lows were, and I could keep my sanding scratches smaller with the block instead of using the DA, and then put a skim of Rage Ultra in there. Knock that down initially with 180, and then to get the feature line in, guide coat it, get the feature line in either side of it. I refine all the scratches, and it's all finished off in 220 grit. So that, you know, that's, I get a repair to almost where I need it, leave a little bit of filler left to just to come off, and then that gives me a little bit of scope. If I think I'm going to get it in one skim, gives me a little bit of scope to just refine them scratches. So obviously you're going to take a little bit more filler off when you're refining it. And sometimes if you get repair and you think, oh, that's right, but then you got to do another grade, you'll end up losing, you know, the good repair you had. You know, I've had it a few times. You take that little bit more filler off just to get your scratches a bit finer, and then your shape's gone, and you end up skimming it again. So yeah, I always try to leave a little bit on there. If I think I'm nearly there, time to go to the next grade. You know, so yeah. Like I say, finish it off in 220 grit, just trying to keep them scratches smaller, so give myself plenty of blending room towards the front door, so keeping it more in circles and directional, just to try and minimise the amount of scratched area around that filler. You always got to be conscious of your blending, when you're doing the filler work, when you're doing your prep work. My main thought most of the time is keeping colour away from other panels, because it can cause you a headache, especially if you haven't quoted to blend something and you end up having to go edge to edge. It's always at the forefront of my mind is the blending of the colour most of the time. So yeah, finished it off in 220 grit on the block, finished all the filler off in 220 grit, and now I'm just sanding around it with 240 grit, just get all those scratches out around it. Again, like if you can see, I'm keeping it as small as I can. It can be detrimental sometimes keeping it too small, especially if you're keeping your primer tight and all that. You can end up sort of not covering your scratches properly with your primer because you're keeping that small, or you keep your masking tight and you can end up with a bit of a line. But this was quite a fine repair on this, so primer wise I didn't use the full high build that I use here with the MEPA system I got there. The 4+1 high build primer's got a variety of different mixing ratios, so I didn't use the full high build on this one because it didn't really need it. It was nice and fine. The repair felt really good, so I didn't need a great build. I just needed a good surfacer over it, just to seal it in, which helps with keeping stuff small as well. So it's called compact filler mixing ratio, and it's just basically the same as the high build, but with double the amount of thinners in. But it dries really quick. Just put 3 coats of it on, and dries really quick, and it's not a massive film build on it. So yeah, I like to get all my paint prep done once the repair's done, if I can, if I've got time. So 800 grit just to take some texture out of that, out of the blending area, out of the orange peel that's in the door, and then go around some edges. So it's 800 grit on the DA, 1000 grit soft pad round some edges, and then I give it all a good grey scotch with some paste and water just to scrub it up, scrub all the dust out of the scratches, and just give it a good clean up and get all my edges done. Cheeky, who are you smiling at? always being careful not to get any water on the filler, and obviously if there's bare metal or aluminium on the panel, yeah, try not to get no water on it. Sometimes you do a little bit, but it's all right, it's not too bad. So that's it, it's all prepped now. Just get it all dried off, and yeah, start getting it masked up for primer. So all cleaned down now, and yeah, just before I mask it up, smear some pore filler over the repair. I do that on all my repairs. Well, I'm not using the full high build neither. So yeah, that compact filler is a bit thinner, and will definitely pick up the little micro pinholes that you naturally get in filler anyway. So yeah, really aids with how your filler lays on, how your primer, lays on your filler. Really helps, and yeah, fills in all those little micro pinholes, and you end up using less primer. You're not sort of trying to flood it on there to fill in those little holes. So it's not the cheapest, to be honest with you, but it does go a long way, and it's definitely worth having some pore filler lying about for your filler, especially if you're doing little small repairs. If you're doing little small repairs and maybe using like 1K primers, it's brilliant for that. It on plastic and stuff like that, it takes the furriness off of plastic. And yeah, if you're doing your little smart repairs or whatever, just using little aerosol 1Ks or just 1K out the gun, makes hell of a difference. Putting some pore filler over your repairs, even if you're using fine filler, never hurts to put a little smear of that over. So we're coming to the end of this video now. I took it up to the primer stage. Like I say, yeah, let me know in your comments what you think the price of this job should be, or what would you price it at if you was doing this job. And yeah, would you go all out and blend the front door and do all the quarter and up all round the rail and have the glass out of the quarter and strip all the bumper out the way and the backlight out? Or would you sort of do what I've done on this job, where I've kept the blend small on the quarter, kept everything small within the door, and repaired it? Yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know your comments. That'd be great. And yeah, a couple of coats of primer are going to go down now, and then yeah, there'll be another part to this video where prep it, mask it, paint it, and polish it, and I'll show you the end results. So thanks a lot everyone for watching. Really appreciate it. If you can please like, share, and subscribe and all that good stuff, and we'll see you again in the next one. Look after yourselves.